So as Andy said, the topic of my presentation is from dashboards to analytic apps. More on that in a second. What I want you all to think about is this. What if I told you Tableau could analyze and visualize any data-related question you have? That you can literally visualize any answer to any question you have with Tableau. What would you think about that? A lot of people are skeptical. So I say that because to me, Tableau is a blank canvas. Now, why would I say that? You know, everybody says Tableau is a data visualization tool. But when you open it up, the worksheet is blank. You look on the dashboard pane, that's blank. So what is actually created is up to those who are actually the data artists, as I like to call them. So it's really limited by your creativity and your approach. And that's what I hope to kind of unravel today. Keep that in mind. So I came across a great article on a website called Dueling Data by Tableau's Zen master named Adam McCann. He presented this theory not theory, but an idea that there are three types of data visualization: data art, infographics, and dashboards. And if you've been following at least anything on Tableau blogs and things like that on the internet, from Stephen Few, there's a lot of debate about what a dashboard is and what a dashboard isn't. So I created my own lane, Analytic Apps. That way, and really Analytic Apps, I'm going to talk about a little more, are anything that does not meet the current definition of what a dashboard is. That way I kind of created my own safe space. So it's almost a loophole, if you will, but it kind of works. So data art, for those who are not familiar, data art, you may see this on Tableau's public forum, things that look cool, but they don't necessarily give you a lot of insight into what's going on with the data. It looks great. Sometimes you can utilize these techniques to actually benefit you when you're actually trying to present more information, because there are a lot of cool techniques by people like Ken Flair. There's a lot of people out there in Tableau in the community. But that's data art. An infographic, I love infographics. A lot of times I actually download them from the Tableau public gallery. And what happens is I say, oh wow, how do they do this in Tableau? I download it and I look at it, and it's really an image with a bunch of floating worksheets. So it really speaks to people's skill with graphic design. That's not my strength, but I do appreciate infographics. Then you have your dashboard. I'm not going to try to define a dashboard because there's a lot of nuance there, so I'm going to leave that alone. But a dashboard essentially is designed to answer a business question, whether you're looking for it to be rapidly answered, however you look for it to be answered. A dashboard presents that information in a nice, creative way, built out with whatever your tool of choice is. In this case, we're talking about Tableau. So here's my theory. This is all a theory presented by me, so whatever you like, take it. Whatever you don't like, please feel free to dismiss it. So my theory is we can move beyond dashboards. That's my theory. Into what I call analytic apps. Now, how I define analytic apps are really dashboards that are designed more for the user to interact with. And those are really designed for analysis, not for rapidly being able to see an answer, but something that you want an analyst to dive into, to spend time with, and really to get some understanding from the actual dashboard. We're going to have a pseudo hands-on activity that kind of highlights this point a little later, but I just want you all to try to wrap your minds around that. And someone asked me once before, what actually made me start to think about Tableau in this way? Which is why I'm thankful that Andy actually allowed me to share it, because I've never really talked to a group of Tableau users to get feedback on what I'm thinking about. So I appreciate the forum. So the reason I actually came down the path of what I call analytic apps is because back in 2011, I discovered Tableau. I was working with a local nonprofit. We were doing a lot of mapping and things of that nature, using what I hope none of you all have heard of, Map Maker. Map info, okay, some people have heard. So it took 10 steps to create one map, and then another 2 steps to add labels and colors. And I discovered Tableau, in a couple clicks I had a map. I impressed my boss and said, wow, can we do this and can continue to do this? So it saved me a lot of time and opened up my eyes. I thought I was a Tableau user, right? Some of you all may be new users, maybe you all just discovered mapping and things like that. But little did I know there's a lot more to Tableau than creating maps and bar graphs and things of that nature. So fast forward a few years later, I actually was given the opportunity to be a full-on Tableau developer. I thought I was ready. I had done some mapping, I've done some charts and graphs in Tableau. I was comfortable, so I thought. And this is what they asked me to create. This is my first project. They said, hey, we're glad we got a resource. We want you to use Tableau and create a non-box. So I did exactly what you all did. I looked at it, I said, okay, first step is to reach out to Tableau. Because I had no idea what to do. But I'm sure Tableau support was going to be able to help me solve this problem. That was my assumption. So I looked on the forums and I came across 2 words no one likes to see, not answered, right? So there was one question that said, hey, how do you create a 9-box in Tableau? There were some people who said you can use a background image, you can use some XY coordinates that you customize inside of Excel, and you bring them in. All those things seemed to work, but then my supervisor said, hey, on top of the 9-box, I want you to make each box dynamic. So resize it to fit whatever we have coming through. At the time, we were looking at, let's just say products. So they wanted to fit as many products that fell within each segment or quadrant as we had. I said, okay, maybe we could do that. You know, this container's resized, so I knew that much. Then I said, okay, I can do that, possible. Then they said, oh, by the way, one added piece. We want arrows to indicate movement over time. So they want a month-over-month change reflected in the same 9-box. So that's a lot of interactivity inside of Tableau. I hadn't seen a lot of people doing that on the forums or online or anything like that. So this was kind of out of the box. So I reached out to Tableau after going through all my options. I had gotten close. I was able to bring in all the products. I figured, okay, if I need 9 quadrants, why not 9 worksheets? And I can figure out how to get them to resize. So I put each worksheet inside a container and stack 3 inside of one vertical container, right? Halfway there. Then they said, okay, the change over time, I figured out how to do the lookup function, things of that nature, to figure out change over time, how to column. For all you Tableau Zen masters, I know you all are following everything I'm saying, so that's good. So I figured out how to get the arrow. I came up with the logic and the calculated field so I can have the change over time and have an arrow colored and change in direction if it's moving right, left, diagonal. All of that was solved. But prior to me figuring that out, I reached out to Tableau, and what did they tell me? They said, it's not possible. Tableau is not designed to do what it is you're talking about doing. Now for me, can't or won't work, that's like nails on a chalkboard. I can't accept that, especially when I'm getting so close. And I'm glad to see certain bloggers like Robert Roos from Interworks, he actually said, the possibilities are limitless with Tableau and D3JS. That gets me excited. Okay, I like that. Tableau is very flexible, you can make things work. Long story short, this is the end result. It's all in Tableau. The arrows are dynamic. You can change the color. If it's going to the left, it's going to be red. If it's going at a diagonal angle, depending on the direction, it may be yellow. And then you can also use a parameter. I guess it's not all fitting on the screen, sorry about that. But you can use a parameter to change and say, okay, what happened from January to February? And you can see product 10 has moved from this box to this box. There's been some additional movement, things of that nature. So this is just a sample. And I said, this I don't think would qualify as what people would deem to be a dashboard. I don't think you would present this to an executive and say, hey, here's your answer. This is something that may take a little more time to digest. So that was my first experience with Tableau. It kind of shaped my thinking around Tableau. Less of a dashboard tool, more of an analytic application type of building tool. That's one example. Which kind of got me excited. I said, okay, if Tableau can do that, what else can it do? Oops, I gave you all a sneak peek, sorry. But essentially, I came across a client recently where they wanted to actually reproduce an employee scorecard based on a few metrics and things like that inside of Tableau. They didn't want to go outside and actually pay for a software. There was a vendor pitching it for about $50,000. They said, we're not really sold on that. But they said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we can actually create our own scorecard using Tableau, something we've already invested in, that allows us to see the manager score, which you see here. I apologize once again, you're not missing anything on the right-hand side, I promise. You see the manager scorecard with the manager, so it's based on the username filter. The username equals manager ID. So when they log in, they see their information. And then what you want to do is be able to see their direct reports automatically, almost like a leaderboard. And then if you select a direct report, show their direct reports. All of you all who've seen it, you probably know this actions and things of that nature. Now, the tricky thing is when you select a direct report, the direct report information is now shown. And then if you want to select one of their direct reports, and as you can imagine, the hierarchy could go on and on, you will see now employee one's information displayed. So as you can imagine, now it's a scorecard. Now, another feature that we added on top of this that you don't see here is we floated all of these different donuts, and if you have the mouse set on here and you use the hover action, you can actually show the employee's image based on the image you take for your employee badge. So now it looks similar to what the vendor was pitching, which is an employee scorecard with drill down functionality to show not only the managers, but the direct reports and their direct reports and the people who fall underneath them. When they first thought about doing it, they said, we're going to create 16 different worksheets or dashboards for each manager to see their direct reports. You don't need to do that. The secret, that someone tell me the secret. I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. Anybody have any idea how you make this functionality work? Oh, wow, okay. Yes.
Action filters?
Action filters, yes, for the drill down, yeah, absolutely. How about the swapping of the manager to the direct reports to the employee? Parameters? No.
Loading, high-powered coding sheets in the dashboard?
Nope, I wish.
Isn't it a filter again?
Nope. And this is what I get excited about. So now you're thinking outside the box, yes. It is a calculated field, yes.
Is this a case statement?
Not a case statement, good idea though. Wow. I know there's a Zen master who's like, I know how to do this. Maybe if I showed you the data structure, you may understand a little more. But so it's kind of hard to answer it on the fly. But essentially, I'm leveraging Tableau order of operations. That's a hint. Show of hands of people who understand Tableau order of operations. Few people. Okay. So the if-then statement is saying if senior manager equals the manager, then 1, else 2. Now, if I only want to show one score, I'm leveraging actually a table calculation for the last function, which actually happens last, to basically say if it's not a manager, then show the employee, and then just grab the first row. That's a lot of words, I know, but if you have any questions, I can actually show you afterwards a little more in detail. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But essentially, if you think outside of the box, you can make a lot of things happen in Tableau that don't traditionally happen, and that most people don't think can happen inside of Tableau. On to the fun thing. Actually, I'm a fan of the NBA. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to answer a question in Tableau, a data-related question, you can do so. So I always thought about, hey, I'm watching a game that may be close. Are there any metrics that I can leverage, create an algorithm to say, hey, who's winning right now? One of my favorite features on this dashboard is actually the pages function. I never actually used the pages feature in Tableau, but for this, I had to, just so you can see what other games are happening. My idea was to build a live app that I can put out on Tableau Public so you can actually track these games real time and see who's winning and who's losing based on the probability. That was my idea. Kind of got stopped short because of the limitations, pseudo limitations with Tableau Public. There may be a workaround with Google Sheets, but I'll explore that at a later date. But essentially, I'm pulling data from an API, pulling it all in so I can have the current game schedule, and I'm tracking the stats of the players, and I'm actually looking at field goal percentage, rebounds, assists to actually calculate the win-loss probability. So now you see all of the games that are happening here on the left, almost like you see on ESPN, which I think is pretty cool. You can also look at the different matchups that are happening right now. You say, okay, who's winning, what's the score, and you can transition the dashboard, and obviously you can use custom shapes to bring in all this. This is just like a start, I think, just to get the mind moving around what you can actually do in Tableau. Hopefully this is as cool to you as it is to me. I get excited sometimes. So you can look at that and you say, oh, okay, the win probability, my algorithm was not bad, I don't think. Because I actually was doing the manual labor of refreshing every 10 minutes because I couldn't get it to actually dynamically do that, but I'm sure there's a workaround. And for this one, where there's a 3-point spread, it was like 50-50, which I think is decent. Just an idea of a couple of fun things you can do in Tableau. Hopefully that's helpful. Now to the next piece.
Were you correct in your...
Was I?
How well did you...
I think I did okay. I did not win some money. Everybody wins. I get that question asked. People ask me that all the time. Nah, I'm not yet. Not yet. Okay, so now to the fun part. Here's a data set. I can show it to you in Tableau. I just wanted to actually blow up the dimensions and measures. That way everybody can see it and have a chance to kind of go through this. This was a data set that I was given. It was a part of a contest. Now, we all know the Iron Biz contest with Tableau is all about the visuals and everything of that nature. I saw this data set. Here are the measures at the top. Here's the measures at the bottom. The dimensions are category, menu, item, and serving size. Pretty straightforward. I did not like this data set when I saw it. There's no time series. Nothing really jumped out at me. So everything that was going through my head was just bar graphs. So I didn't necessarily want to do bar graphs. So I want you all to take 5 minutes and think about what you would display with this data set. I don't know if we sent it out, but it would be, if not, then feel free. If you want to copy the data set, I can send it to you afterwards so you can play around with it. But this is like my grand finale. This is it for me. After you all look at it, I'll show you what I did. But I'm curious to know what you all think when you see this data. And hopefully this will illustrate a way to use Tableau in a little different light than what you may be accustomed to. If not, then that's good too. So feel free to throw ideas out if you already have ideas.
Pictures of hamburgers.
Absolutely, custom shapes coming to mind immediately.
The size of those pictures based on the nutrition values.
There you go, I like that.
Make your own time series going forward and show your expanding shape.
I like that as well. I like it. Any other? Go ahead.
One showing healthier, less healthy food options, nutrition value, calories.
I like it. Yep, you can do that.
Cluster items based on nutritional information.
Cost of item, bringing in price. Yep.
Cluster it.
Oh, cluster it. I like that as well.
Maybe a word count for how much content, something's more, have more volume in something, hamburger or whatever.
You could definitely do that. I saw a couple hands over here.
So there's different diets now where you emphasize different macronutrients. So you have one where you're going to eat all fat, you're going to avoid all sugar, or you're going to do other things. You create like a drop down where you pick the diet and it shows which are the best menu items to fit.
Now you're talking. Now,
Or remove parts of the hamburger to see what's
that too. I like. Now we're getting to what I get excited about. Answering a real question. To the diet point, I like that. Any other ideas?
Side of it, but how to display it, make it look like the menu, and as things are up there, they size, drop down, put that background image, so it looks like you're looking at them all.
I like that idea as well. Yes.
When someone brought up clustering, to go through any type of regression of clustering logistics, you always want to make sure to actually first calculate a z-score for all your variables, just to compare and see what's that, and then
I like that as well, taking a more statistical approach. I like it. So my thought when I saw this data set was, first, I don't like it. That was my first thought. Second thing I said is, if I'm going to spend any time creating anything in Tableau, it's going to be to answer a question that I have, which is McDonald's healthy? I haven't eaten McDonald's in a while. I'm biased. I said McDonald's is terrible. I just started off with that hypothesis. Then I said, okay, how about if I could select a menu, not a menu, but a meal that was optimized based upon my nutritional desire. So could I use Tableau to create something that says, if I select a certain type of hamburger, eliminate everything else from the menu that would put me over a certain daily percent value. See that? They have the percent daily value. So that's where I started. And I said, okay, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to set out to actually make this happen. And I did. So I want you all to be able to see everything. First off, we can look on the left-hand side. That's fine. And let me know if I'm running over time. I don't want to do that. Okay. So the first thing I did was, okay, I created a parameter. And I said, if we just leave it at 100% daily value, here are the items you cannot eat. Because either carbohydrates, cholesterol, sodium, or total fat will put you over 100%. So immediately those are off the menu. You cannot touch these. And I actually used to love the big breakfast when I actually was going to McDonald's years ago. One of my favorite things. But the big breakfast, if you like the big breakfast, it's probably not the best thing for you. But I said, okay, that's the start. That was easy. I could just look and say, oh, what's over 100%? But if I said, all right, this is my third meal of the day, I just want to limit my daily value to 33%. Now you see how the number of entree options drop down significantly? So every time you go to McDonald's, you order an entree, then you pick a side, then you pick a drink, right? That's the kind of order. Like, you want a side, would you like a drink with that? So that's the approach that I took. I said, okay, first, we're going to say, what items can we select? And obviously, you added a lot more to those you cannot touch. But you can also limit it by category, because there's entrees for breakfast, there's entrees for beef, chicken, fish, salads, however.
So what does that cinnamon roll fall into?
It actually falls under, I think it's salads or sides or something. Yeah, but that's just how they categorize it in the data set. So it's not an entree for anybody who don't. It's not. It's definitely not. Actually, I think it falls under breakfast. I'm sorry. It falls under breakfast with like a cinnamon. So if you wanted to select an item, you could say, all right, I guess we're approaching the lunch hour. I like chicken and beef. So you select that, and it's obviously going to limit your options even more, right? So now we have 6 out of 42. And then once you select your chicken, it's been a while. Someone help me. We'll do a flavor. Everybody thinks the fish options are good, are healthy. So we're going to select the fish. Now what it's going to do is going to tell you, since you've selected a fish sandwich, how many options do you have left for sides? You have a few. And that's the thing that surprised me when I actually created this. You can select a side salad, a fruit parfait, a kid's ice cream cone, and let's do apple slices. And then you have 38 drinks you can choose from based upon this. And this is, when I say analytic apps, this is the kind of thing I'm thinking about inside of Tableau. And I like water. And water, I'm sure, is never going to put us over the limit. And once you select that, then you can take a look at your bar graph. I know everybody loves bar graphs. And now you can see across the board, this line is 33%. Everything is below 33%. So now you can actually use Tableau to actually answer questions that you had not been able to answer before. So this is what I think about when I think about analytic apps, and that's my time. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I've got the data set.
Oh, you do?
So that they can.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
I didn't have a chance to get it out earlier, but
I just want to copy that.
that would be too easy.
is that up on Tableau Public?
It is up on Tableau Public, yes. If you want to take a look at it and use it, feel free to go visit Tableau Public and play around with it. But it was definitely fun for me to put together, something that I thought was creative and worth spending the time on, and that's my time.
All right, let me just,
Questions?
Ask you about your NBA graph. How did you get the data?
You actually can find the data on I'll go back to
I just switched over to go back to it, sorry.
I wish everything fit, but you can go here, My Sports Feeds, and there's an API. You can actually pull it down and get access to it. If you want to access it live, you can, like get a live feed, but you have to pay a few dollars. But you can access any old data for free. So I have plans that whenever I find time to do some analysis on like stats over time to see if LeBron is actually slowing down, that kind of thing.
Do fantasy football?
I don't. Maybe something I need to explore. But, any other?
What were
Yes.
some of the factors you used in your win probability?
The number one driver was field goal percentage. After that, then I looked at rebounds and then assists, how well they shot the ball. I did some research, like just looking at different like articles and research papers where they looked at analyzing like how do you predict the win-loss probability of basketball, things like that. So, yeah. Any other questions, thoughts?
Okay, let me show everybody where the data is. It's out on the Tableau forums. And
Feel free to pull it down and play with it. I would love to see what you all think about. And I always say, and this is just my theory, the limitations are really limited by your questions and how you decide to approach answering a question with Tableau. A lot of times people they limit themselves. They say, hey, Tableau is, I can never understand when people say Tableau can't do something because it's really about how you think about it. Sometimes you have to think outside of the box. Everything is not linear. And sometimes you have to go around the world and back to find a solution. But it's worth it when you do.
do you think we'd have time to
Oh, go
walk
through
us through how to
To at least get started?
How to at least get started with it?
Absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
we've got plenty of time.
Well, let's do it.
So for those who have their computers, if you can download the data from that site,
You may need to get the, all right, let me see if I can get both of these items up at the same time.
So this is what the original data set looks like. Oh, I guess you don't have, you can't see what.
All right, so the top part indicates where you can download the data from, and the bottom part indicates how you can get connected to the Wi-Fi.
Oh.
and while we're doing this, Hamid, do you have any Tableau related classes and stuff that are coming up here at Emory?
Yeah, what we have, we basically try to get a master program, break it down to pieces. One of them as business intelligence, application point, data analytics, Tableau is part of it. Then the second one is machine learning, predictive analytics, we call it big data and data analytics. And the third one is artificial intelligence. And instead of just loading a lot of information on your master program and let you go, we try to teach you a piece, you go and get jobs or you get advancement, you come back 6 months or a year later and you go to the next level. At some point, you're going to make this to a macro certificate and come up with a degree. But that's the way we are doing it. The next program we have for Tableau is in July 15. The next one for big data analytics is September 15. And artificial intelligence, September 22nd.
All right. How's everybody doing on the data download? Everybody there who wants to follow along? I've not seen any respond. Are we doing it? Anybody following along? If not, we'll just. All right. All right. A little bit more time over here to download. Yeah, I also want to let you know that there are some opportunities if your company is using Tableau and you've got people who are willing to present, perhaps either to our group, but there's other groups. There's a number of schools that are looking for people in the work community who use Tableau to present to their students how you are using Tableau. And Emory does that from time to time. Also, University of Georgia is looking for some folks as well. I can't speak for Georgia Tech, but on occasion, Dan Murray and I get out there and we present Tableau to their students. So there are plenty of opportunities outside this particular group that you can share your Tableau knowledge with others that are definitely interested in it.
And are we ready? Over here. Whoever is downloading the data. We're good? Okay. Back to you, Nasheed.
So here's what the data looks like when you first get access to it. And a lot of times what people do is they kind of stop here and say, hey, this is what I see, what can I do based on this? But if you actually look online, there's a lot of different Tableau Zen masters and other people out there who talk about ways in which you can do more with the data set you have. So the first step, anyone, I know there's somebody in the audience who knows, if we want to actually do what I did with the McDonald's data set, I'm not going to literally walk through everything because there's but I will at least get you started. I think that's the least I could do. The first step, anyone. Go ahead.
Split the serving size fee.
You could. In terms of the first step to actually be able to do the calculation for the menu optimization. you basically want to look at each menu item compared to every other menu item. That's the hint. Yes.
Pivot your values.
You said payroll?
Pivot your values.
Pivot your values. No, not necessarily, but it does happen in that window where you could pivot. Has anyone heard of a cross join?
Your Cartesian.
Yes. There you go. That's so the first thing you want to do is, this is my first time actually walking someone else through it, but actually bring your data out again so that you can create a join. Has anyone ever done a join in Tableau? Okay, so have you ever noticed this little create join calculation at the bottom? You have? Okay, so use that. Simply type 1. Click OK. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just one.
True.
And now what you have is a data set that has each menu item paired to every other menu item, and you can begin your analysis that way. That's the one hint I will share. And then the rest is all about your creativity, the use of actions and filters and calculated fields and all of the other magic that happens inside of Tableau.
So what does that really mean for one another?
It's just giving you a field to basically just match based upon, but it's going to match everything to everything, essentially. Because you're joining a 1 with a 1.
And why do you do that?
Because if you want to compare a Big Mac to every other menu item to figure out that's the logic behind it. Yeah. So there was a contest. Definitely, we're not looking for an app, so it's just a different approach. So sometimes you want to build out dashboards, depending on your audience, but I did want to take some time to present a different idea. In case it sparks innovation and different ways of thinking about Tableau, and I appreciate the opportunity. I don't even think I introduced myself, but Andy did a great job, so. My name is Nasheed Sabree. I work for Roar Consulting, where I help clients leverage the power of Tableau. I've been working with Tableau for quite some time, worked at a lot of different companies. The benefit of that is I actually have been able to see a lot and do a lot. I've had the opportunity to solve all kinds of problems, whether it's healthcare, whether it's marketing, and that really opens you up. As you begin, show of hands of people who are new to Tableau. Perfect. I was right where you are. The good thing about it is you're not late to the party, and I say that because Tableau constantly is changing. Every time you think you know Tableau, they add a new feature, and you feel like you're starting from scratch. And there are some people out there who can keep up. As soon as I think I'm gaining ground, they add something else, and it's just like you're back to the starting block. So you may be the first to the party when it comes to Tableau prep or data viz inside of a tooltip. But the reality is Tableau is a pretty flexible tool, and a lot of times you're going to learn based on experience. Just get out there and try different things. That's it for me.
All right. Thank you, Najee.
Thank you.